all you devils out there, happy Friday. Oh, got a few things teed up for you today. We're including a new sponsor that we're excited to share with you here. We'll get to that momentarily, but I'm start here out on this weekly chart here, the same chart we've been looking at for many weeks now, with one modification. Now, I've introduced here an alternate count that's really coming from my team. In particular, members know him as GZ1968. This is something that he's advocating for, and I think it's worthy of consideration. Now, it does have one glaring issue with it, or something that would have give you pause, and that is that the idea is that we had a truncation here on the 5th of the 3rd. Now, Elliott Wave purists are immediately going to I beg to differ, right? Because it would be extremely unusual to have a truncation in the 5th. Pardon me, in a third wave here. It would be the 5th of the 3rd, but still, nonetheless, that truncation would be highly unusual. However, it's worth considering as an alternate count here. It certainly does clean up the subdivision in the proposed third here. It's always been a question, if you put the 1 down here and the 2 down here, right? That's how we've been doing it, thinking, 3, 4, right? This has been the count that is, I think, been most commonly referred to as the appropriate subdivision here. But it's this whole thing is getting a little funky here, so it's worth considering. Now, we're not, we're never here saying we have the right count, right? This is an alternate to consider. Now, ultimately, that the question you might be asking yourself, well, if that's what it ends up being, right? If this is the count, then are we dramatically altering any potential trade entries or how you might interpret the context as we look at the market now starting to show some signs of bullish activity here? Now, we're not out of the woods yet. But that said, I think it's one to consider, or at least keep it in your mix of alternates. It would allow for this 4 to be in. Now, the next challenge is going to be, okay, well, what does the price action look like coming off of that low? Of course, it's a perfect 38 tag off of this is the proposed 2. So in terms of the depth of the retracement, you're right where you would anticipate it. Okay, right. So that said, now let's always keep a weekly or something long-term, at least in the mix for your review, just to keep that perspective, right? So if we have... some people, right, they don't want to look at anything over a 60-minute, right, because they want the constant action. Okay, right, there's a place for that. Our view is our goal here is to make the most amount of trading return as possible, right? And I think most will find that if you step back, particularly with something like Bitcoin, certainly, but ETH and the majors as well, more money is going to be made long-term trading than trying to get every swing, but. It's up to the individual, right? There's no right answer there. Now, with that said, so let me come back down here. Now, I'm going to go over to this is our new sponsor. This is BloFin. Some of you may be familiar with them. Just to give you a quick little, just a 30-second promo on them. We've been talking to them for quite some time. They've been very persistent with me, and I slowly started to recognize some of the real potential as they've matured. They got themselves on TradingView, which is a big plus. So when I tell you the reason I was not using them for the weekly is because this is when they hit TradingView, right? So I don't have enough history. But as we're looking here at a shorter term swing structure here, where I don't need to go back to the full history, it's perfectly adequate to use here. Now these guys, again, they're comers, right? They're relatively new, perfectly suited to a U.S. resident who's looking for a non-KYC kind of an exchange. So you have that benefit right off the bat. They've got something like 400 pairs, many with up to 150 times leverage. So for those of you that love the leverage trading, this is a good solution for you. All the security and the transparency is what you would hope to find. They're verified by Nansen. It's one I wasn't familiar with, but that's their proof of reserve. It's a dollar for dollar, so you've got complete transparency there. They're working with fire blocks for custodial safeguards of user funds, and their market makers all are external, so they're never trading against you. So these guys are an exchange to consider. Well, I'll be back with probably a more full-featured walkthrough of some of the benefits. The exchange rates are very competitive. Lots of promo giveaways. Now I'm going to warn you here, there's a white screen. But this is the current promotion that'll be in. There'll be a link underneath here. So they've got some nice deposit bonuses here for those of you that want to trade in the futures market, and then up to a $5,000 bonus for those of you that want to get involved with a little bit more of a deposit and some of the additional opportunities that come with this up to 5K in US dollar tether. Okay, right. So there's my little promo. So with that said, let's get back to Bitcoin here. Now, again, you'll note here I'm on the BloFin exchange chart here. Now, this is where the potential truncation comes into play. Right. So this is the 3, right? So we hit our all-time high here. Well, again, we've looked at this many times here. The idea here that we've gone into a WXY as a proposed 4, certainly valid, right? I think many were anticipating that this was going to be the push to a new high here, that we were going to get it. We don't get it. What we get is the double top, right? Which we've looked at many times here, right? Which frustrates the Elliottian, right? Because you're not, what do I do with it, right? It's unusual, and truncation is kind of a dirty word to an Elliottian, right? So rare. But here, I think there's a reasonable case for it. So this would be the 4 here. We'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. All good, except we didn't get the push to the new high. So a possible truncation in the 3rd. Again, I'm not saying that's what it is, right? That's not how we approach technical analysis. It's not about being right. It's about being profitable. This is an alternate count for you to consider, right? So I propose it for your consideration. We've had a lot of dialogue back and forth. Some hate it. Some really see it. I think it's worth considering, right? So I introduced it into the mix here. So for the idea then we've gone into a 3. This is a little tricky here. You'd have to do it as a leading diag here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into an A, B, very short little C relative to the A. But okay, valid, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You've got it for the B. Now, then we get the waterfall, right? The free fall here that would take us down. Well, that would mean, if that's the case, if the 4 is in here, right? So if we come back to our weekly, right? Well, here our 4 right here. If that's in, right? You can look at it there and say, well, okay, so what A, B, C? Whoa, why not? Right? Why not that? Well, it's a little trickier here. So here's the proposed low coming off of this. Okay, is this there's so much in crypto that looks good today. The one of the weakest charts of all are, well, the 2 weakest are probably Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're just not giving you what you'd hope for here. Now, having said that, I'm of course, nothing says we can't be off to the moon here. I'm never saying that. I'm saying if you're applying Elliott Wave here, you're going to have a hard time getting a reasonable, valid count out of here that's going to give you a clean anything, right? There's nothing clean here other than a series of 3s. So it's tempting. People want to think, oh, okay, I know how to do it, right? Oh, come here. It's tempting to think, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's very tempting. Oh, what's the problem? Well, again, it's just a question of, I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm saying if you're applying Elliott Wave, that's not a valid count. Now, you might say, well, who fucking cares? I'm not disrespecting that approach, right? If you don't care, you don't care. I'm just saying that if you're applying Elliott Wave here, which is foundational to the way we approach the market here, certainly on higher time frames. Here's a 2-hour. 1, 2, well, can't do it, right? The best case you could make here, if you're applying Elliott Wave here, is you have some sort of a diag here. So it would be 1, 2, 3. Well, you're going to truncate again. It's too many truncations, right? So more likely what you've got here is an A. This looks like it's a combo. A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. Or it looks like you got a WXY into a B here. And then again, I know listen, I'm as bullish as anyone. I want to see a path to get there, but it's not ripe yet. Now, as I feel like I have to continually remind people of this, I am not saying we couldn't be off to 100 grand. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're applying Elliott Wave here, this is not what you were hoping to see. This is not an impulsive start to the move. Now, okay, maybe this turns into some sort of giant diag here, maybe, right? But right now, again, remember, an Elliott wave is always just a snapshot in time. Right now, as we look at this, I don't have an impulse here. Best I can do is work some sort of an ABC into it. I've got a 3 here, and I do not get an impulse here. I can barely get a diag in here. How you even get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is that what you're hoping to see? No, right? Okay, could we work with it? I suppose there's some that will, these fucking rules are a pain in the ass. Well, yeah, they are, right? More often than not, they'll keep you out of trouble. It's only 90 years of historical context, right, to consider these. A, B, we're going to end it with a diag C. So now you come back here, and so make you think, okay, wait a minute. If this isn't my launch, right, and this is just going to be right now, it looks like it's just going to be a series of 3s, right? What's the implication? I'm afraid lower, right? Now, of course, as a bull and a holder of Bitcoin, right? I'm not rooting for a sell-off. I'm just looking at this going, it doesn't quite look right. What would the alternate be? Well, okay, if I've got an A, B, now this can be a B, this can be a flat because this is deep enough. Well, let's just make the point here. All right, so if I go here to here, where's platinum? Platinum, right? We go exactly to 90%, right? Not in the neighborhood. Actually, we get through by a tick, right? So we go just far enough so that we can call this a 3, 3, 5 and call it a flat. It's pretty, no. Valid, yep. A, B, C. All right. One choice is put the 4 in here, and this very, very choppy, sloppy mess here. Oh, we're going to launch with that. It's possible. Anything's possible. What's the alternate, right? That we would go W, X, Y. So let's take this down a degree, and let's do it this way. So we'd have an A, B, C into a W. A, B, looks like we're working on an X here into a 4 down here. Right now, doesn't we could have a double down here. I'm not saying we don't have to go down into the low 40s, but as it sits here right now, it's hard not to be considering this as a possibility. Now, if we launch here and this ends up being something, we do this, okay, we'll reconsider it. But right now, that's a hopium. Trading hopium, it's dangerous. I'm trying to give a bull some reason to buy it here. Okay, we've had a break of structure here. So you just note here, I've got the algo Ethereum on here. So here's the break of structure. What do we anticipate after a break of structure? Retrace, right? Now, do we know that we're done here? No, we don't. Again, for all I know, we're going to be at new highs before the end of the weekend. I guess my point is, be selective. You're gonna if you take this, I would propose to you, the only reason you're taking that is it's FOMO. If you're a disciplined technician, well, I shouldn't say it that way. If you're an Elliottician, you're not going to buy that. If you're a disciplined technician not applying Elliott Wave, I wish I could take it all off here in a second. If you're doing that, okay, well, what just happened, right? We had a swing, we had a retrace, now we have a break of structure. After the break of structure, now this could go for a while. After that break of structure, we're anticipating the retrace, right? Now, just thinking how market makers are going to move the market, right? If they want to take it higher, what are they likely to do, right? They need more liquidity. Here's a choice, here's a choice, here's a choice. Right? Remember, we go from internal to external liquidity. Where's the liquidity right now? Well, they just swept some right here. Where's the next liquidity? Right? It'd be up at this pivot right here. It's not the all-time high, but up at 70. You could see that happening. Be kind of surprising, but this would be quite an extension here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be quite a fifth. Are you buying in the premium of the discount? Let's Oh, here, we'll do it this way. Oh, come here. All right, let's just take the range here. There's the 50. You want to buy it up here? I'm never saying don't buy it, right? If you want to buy it, have at it, right? I'm just saying if you're applying the methodology that we teach, this would be a hopium buy, right? You're just going, oh, well, it's going up today. Fuck, the Fed's going to lower rates, right? Liquidity's increasing, right? It's all good for Bitcoin. Okay, that's true. But, again, if you're applying our methodology, you're not buying that. Very least, you'd be buying in the premium, right? We want to buy down here. We want to buy in the discount when it's on sale. Why do you want to pay full retail, right? So that's drop dead simple, right? Every SMC trader on the planet understands that concept. Okay, right? But FOMO is a powerful force, right? You just see enough people repeating, it's time, right? You look across the alt space, alts look much better, but Bitcoin's not. What more can I say? I wouldn't buy that, right? I'll wait for the retrace. Now, if it goes, if we get this, I'll again wait for the retrace. Right? I'm not bearish. I'm not comfortable buying that, right? So for what that's worth. Okay, let's go over to ETH real quick. ETH is on Coinbase here as well. Again, I need the history, right? So much as I'm excited about BloFin, we don't have this much history, again, because they just got on TradingView. They don't backfill the history, unfortunately. Right? It still looks like this is the most boring chart on the board. All the hope and oh God, it's going to be revolutionary. When the ETFs come in, there's a snooze fest. Just not happening in ETH yet. Right, now let's see what happens here. Right, that certainly is disappointing at the moment. Right, it's disappointing at the moment. All it would take is a big rip here, and everybody rethinks it. Right now, snooze fest. Okay, I've got a few others here. Let's finish up in crypto, and then we're going to look at the ES and gold actually. So let me pause for a sec. Okay, 3 alts that both look promising, right? And they're giving us a better launch point here than I think what we're seeing with Bitcoin. So I'm over here on BloFin, right? We can now track all of the alts here and all of the majors on BloFin over here, which you'll see me doing now consistently. So okay, we back up here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Doge, right? This is their history, right? They just hit TradingView in January. Okay, I got a nice big WXY. Right, perfectly valid, right? The big crescendo down here, coming back here to the launch point, right? Why coffeeans, right? We'll be all wet about that, right? So we come back to the launch point here. Okay, 1, 2, right? Now I can get it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? It's ugly, right? But I can get it. 2, 1, 2. It's not an ideal start here, but at least we're making progress. So what just happened here? We just had a little break of structure here. Right, so we can, all right, at this degree here, now we've got a whole lot of imbalances above. Now remember, imbalances often are target to the market because there wasn't fair trading here. What's called a fair value gap, right? There was unfair, right? Buyers didn't get a chance, right? It just went straight down. So we've got potential up here. If this is going to go 1, 2, now it's not exactly. We didn't quite get to, let's get our golden zone here. We didn't quite get to prime wave 2 territory. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can kind of see it. Now we are in log scale. If I take it out, it's not a whole lot better. But there's the break. So, okay, up we go. Where are we headed, right? If this is going to go into a, this would have to be, it's not going to be the 3. We don't have an impulse here, right? So 1, 2 would have to be another 1. About a 4 hour. If I take it to a 1, 1, 2, Jesus, 1. It's ugly, right? So when you have a start like that, ease into it. Don't go heavy on size or leverage, right? Let this thing show itself. That's a mighty bumpy start. You see the imbalance here. We tag right into the middle of it. Is that 1, 2? 1. Careful is all I'm saying, right? if we're going to go 3, all right, we got a big target up here. Let's try a 2 hour here. Got a pretty good target up here right now. Is that the pivot, right? We're going to come off here. Remember, always an algo on the other side. So don't, which I do this, right? Just so you don't forget. It's easy to forget, right? Where are we going to run into some resistance? Well, we're getting through the 50. Next up, the golden zone here from this pivot high. I'd have that on your watch list, right? If you're not already in, of course, right here, swing low, swing high. We just went into the premium, so not an ideal spot to be a buyer. You'd rather have this come up here, do what it's going to do, okay, and maybe we get a correction. I'd be careful about buying right here between the 50 and the golden zone, right? Again, I've shown that so many times. Hopefully, I don't have to mention that. Okay, now continuing, looking better here. This is near protocol. Again, I'm on BloFin, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, this one looks better. Let's go to a 60. It's a little bit of a bumpy ride, but I'm getting higher highs, higher lows. Right, break of structure, break of structure, break of structure. Here's the retrace. This would be change of character, right? And then I finally get another break of structure here. So this is looking pretty good. Off to a good start. Certainly one to get on your radar. A little shy here on this in terms of prime zone. But certainly valid for a candidate for a 2, whether it's here or here. I'd probably likely put it here. 1, 2. Looks like we're in a good 3 here. So one of the few that we've looked at today that's actually showing us, okay, we got a good impulse underway. 1, 2. Looks like we're on our way. This would be our target up here, right? So just traditional Elliott, right? Looking right until we get the 3. We don't alter the first channel, right? It's a 1, 2. Okay, how far can we get? Can we get up to that 3? Right, you can see, as always, right, don't forget, algo on the other side. Going to have to get through that. Plenty of unmitigated order flow up here that hasn't been tapped. Well, this got tapped, this got tapped, this got tapped. Well, you got a ways to go till you get something here, right? You see this gets tapped here, this gets tapped here. This gets tapped here. Right? So you don't have a lot until you get up here. So this has got some room to run. First hurdle, it's got to get through the golden zone. 1, 2. All right, it's going to be a big push. Now it doesn't have to go here. It's just where it's most commonly you'll find them going. Right, 1618, the length of the 1 projected from the 2. We'll see. Good, promising, right? Now, do you want to buy it here? No. Right, at this point, right, you're too late, right? So what you're waiting for is the 4 to the 5. Oh, shit. Oh, that's Bitcoin. Nice. Bitcoin alert going off while I'm in the middle of this, right? So that must be we're pushing to, something happened there. Pushing up to, I think I had an alert at 63. Okay, where was I? Near, right? So that looks good. And another one here that also looks very promising is Avalanche. 1, 2, right? So these, unlike Bitcoin, we're getting impulsive action here. So we can look at this and say, oh, okay, well, it looks like maybe we might have to put that as the internal here right now. I'll let that run. See, I'm on 60, maybe. Change that. See what we're doing there. What are we running? This is untapped right here. So you got this. Could be part of what's causing that. That's bearish order flow, right? It's, with the up before the down. Maybe part of what's going on there. It also looks like you're from the high bumping into our friend. Right? Oh, they got through. Right? So bullish side, right? So bull's clearly in charge here. Clearly in charge. That's again, you're too late to buy it, but that's okay, right? There will be plenty of opportunity for retrace, right? We want to wait for a retrace. 4, right? This would come over here. It's been a long wait to get something to actually start to kick and do it impulsively. And now you can say, well, Bitcoin's at 63, but is it doing it impulsively? Is it doing it impulsively? I'll let you draw your own conclusion there. Okay, let me pause and I'm going to look at ES and GC. Okay, S&P 500. I am still in the camp here that this is it's certainly threatening to be an X. Now, and I get there because a lot of people think the low is in. I'm not. I wouldn't be opposed to the low being in. I'm just looking back historically, looking at, okay, well, this is a 2-year impulse. Even if you take it from here, that's the 10th of March, 23. When do we peak here? July of 24. From here, it's 2 years. We're gonna do that. We do this in less than 3 weeks. We're gonna correct this 2-year impulse in less than what is like 2.5 weeks. Okay, now what's the first thing most people? Oh, well, it's different this time. Well, it's AI, right? Or it's the AI revolution, right? It's different this time. Maybe. That would just be unusual. Let me get rid of that. It would just be unusual to correct all of this that quickly. Not that it can't be, right? Market's under no obligation to do anything. It's going to do what it's going to do. We're just looking at this going, okay, does that, wow, could that be? Well, what's the alternative? And again, it's not so much about predicting what it's going to do. We can look at this and say, okay, well, if this is an ABC, that X should be about done. Now, so just common sense would have you thinking, well, wait a minute. The Fed just said they're going to be lowering rates, right? Maybe 100 basis points between now and the end of the year. How is that possibly going to be bearish for the market? Well, right, doesn't make sense here. So we're just working off of, okay, well, if that's the case, then we can adjust to that, because if we blow this high here, okay, likely the internal subdivision here, that we're kicking into a new fifth, right? And you'd be leaning into the idea of, oh, is this 1, 2? We're still ripping into a 3, and the X comes off the board. No, if we push into a new all-time high, you're going to be pretty quick to start looking to do that. If we don't, if we roll over here, and of course we have the potential for, buy the rumor, sell the news, right? That's certainly a possibility here. But it doesn't really what we want here. You don't want to, well, in my opinion, this would be a very high risk place to be buying, right at next to the all-time high. I promise you retail's probably buying the shit out of it. But that doesn't mean that they're not right, and this can't just continue to just explode higher. It's just a very high risk place to buy it. And if you buy it here, and it rolls over, you're going to come back to this and go, not based on anything that I'm saying. It's just, if we just common sense wise, do we want to buy at all-time highs? Does smart money buy at all-time highs? I'm not telling you what you do. I'm just telling you this is a high-risk place to be buying. So let's if the top is in, which maybe it's nice, we probably keep going here. What are we at for the day? Well, the Dow's up 400. Right? It's always just a percentage. So we're at a percentage point higher. If this keeps going, the 4 could still be in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there could be a little. Let's get in there. Let's get to 060. Let me get this off here. This shit, that could be the 5 is here. It's tricky, right? It just keeps rolling, right? Is this the 3 or is this the 3? And we're doing the 4 here, and that's internal. Certainly could be. I've got this here because if we start to roll over, well, okay, if it's 1, 2, and this is going to be the 3. If we go, do I have an Elliott oscillator? I do. Oh, it's RSI, CCL. Let's bring this down here. So this would be our 1, 2, big 3. Here's the 4. Okay, so so that we'd look at it this way. So we'd take the A, B off. This would be the 1. Let me do it correctly. This would be the 2, 3, 4, and off we are for the 5. And we have one of the shortest corrections in S&P history. I'm not making that up. That would be one of the shortest corrections of something that's bullish for so long. We're going to correct it right in 2.5 weeks. Unusual, right? Not impossible, just unusual, right? So do you want to trade the unusual? As you've heard me say many times, I don't want to trade abnormal, right? I don't want it. That's not what the market usually does. Now, by no means am I saying that it can't do that. I just careful buying up here. That's all I'm saying. We want to buy in discount if we can, not at full retail. Who buys at full retail? Retail. Okay, we're going to finish up here with gold because this is really just some beautiful Elliott here. All right, so I'm out here on, I'm using the futures here. Some of you maybe, you can work in the FX market, the CFDs, or perhaps you're going to work with gold or gold miners here. But this is, oh, Jesus, is this good Elliott here? And not my labeling, I just mean the way the market is responding here. So off of this low down here at 1,000, 1, 2, looks like the 2 here plays best. It wouldn't matter. WXY, doesn't matter. It's a 3 all day. And then 1, 2, we get this unbelievable impulse in here, right? Just a textbook, couldn't be better. Can't script it any better. Oh, the 1, not the prettiest one, right? You got a little dig a little 1, 2 out of it, but oh boy, the 3, 4 sideways in the 4 at this high volume node here. All I've done is just, I've used this little thing here to, from this low to give me the volume profile on the premise that if we start to retrace, I'm looking for that 4. So where's the trade? Right? I'd be letting this, whatever it's going to do, come back here, test into this high volume, and then try and catch that. Now, if we look here, some of this is just so technically perfect, right? So if we look here, where's the highest probability location for a wave 3? Right there. It literally is just put a finger in it. Just toeing the water here, so you have some conviction that that's the 3. Now that doesn't mean we can't go higher. It's just you've got a very strong contender. Let's go down to a 4. You got a great contender here for a potential pivot. Literally just got far enough to get in there. And it's a bit of a bumpy, it looks like you're going to have to do it as a diag here to finish this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3 before we come down for the 4, put us in here at 2,300. Now, you know, Fed lowering rates, I mean, you can try to talk yourself into that. Okay, that would make sense, right? So, right, but certainly we're in a raging bull, so anything down here would be of interest. Oh, let's go back to that daily. You trade the gold ETFs, gold miners, any of that may be an alternate way to approach this, but that's mighty good internal wave structure, mighty good. Come any retracement down here. I think that's going to look very strong. Okay, that's all I got today. I think we've covered everything. I got the 2 majors, crypto, Bitcoin and ETH, and 3 alts, and then we got the ES and we got gold. Okay, so a few things to ponder. Nothing is really clear just yet, but certainly some good signs with something like NEAR really starting to take off here. That's looking quite promising. So hopefully some of these alts are going to kick and Bitcoin will get out of this, whatever it's in. Now, of course, if Bitcoin rolls over per what I've implied here, well, that's gonna be difficult for many of these alts to sustain against that. So hopefully, right, we continue to push higher, and all we'd be doing is setting up the 4 and the 5 if indeed Bitcoin's going to go a little higher and then roll over, come down for a 4. Remains to be seen, right? It's very difficult in Bitcoin right now. Everybody wants it to go, right? All the bulls want it to go, but it's just not giving us what we're looking for. Okay, guys, with that, I'll have a good weekend, and I'll catch you next week. Don't forget to take a look at BloFin. That link will be directly underneath the video here. I think you might like what you see. Okay, guys, I'll be back with a more detailed review of them later in the week.